on Ceylinco Life Let's Talk, we deal with an issue that we wish to do more for, but somehow seem to have our hands tied behind our back most often. Over this past week, once again, child abuse has been in the headlines, but these are only those that are reported. And I say reported because officially the authorities receive about 10,000 complaints annually. The reality, however, is that 1 in 2 children are being abused in Sri Lanka, which means 1 every 2 hours. A child gets abused somewhere. Child abuse and exploitation, whether it's rape and sexual abuse, violence, torture, prostitution of minors, exploitation of child labor, begging, neglect, malnutrition, withdrawal from education, drug abuse and drug trafficking, children are subjected to manifold and complex forms of abuse that are really hard to comprehend. But why is it that cases don't get reported? The list is long, but some of them are due to the legal system being slow and not having sufficient resources to deal with child-related cases effectively. Children don't have easy access to legal representation. A crime against a child is filed as a crime against the state and not against the child. There is social stigma and therefore sexual abuse is underreported. And there's a lack of awareness, underpreparedness and a dearth of trained officials in the justice and police systems to help victims. Enter the Child Protection Force, the brainchild of Milani Salpitikorala, an attorney at law who has a master's in human rights from Queen Mary University, who decided to make a real change. She came into the studio with marketing manager of the Child Protection Force and child rights activist Kumudini to explain why this force was necessary. What was the need for the Child Protection Force? Given that we have an NCPA, a National Child Protection Authority, why or how is this different and what was the need for it?
So initially in 2015, I started a project with the NCPA and we saw some challenges within the court system, within the juvenile justice system of an overload of cases. So our initial pilot was at Vattala Magistrates Court, and a lot of cases that were already there that need not, these cases should have been settled. So this was one of the reasons. So after that, I started building up my project on a juvenile justice system, a more child-centric, holistic juvenile justice system that is child-friendly, very simply. So that was the need for Child Protection Force. Well, the NCPA is also existent. NCPA receives a whole lot of complaints, but my concentration is completely with Child Protection Force is on the juvenile justice system only.
The Child Protection Force has now been in operation for about 3 years. What are the challenges you have faced in that time?
Financial, which is because CPF takes on all their child clients pro bono. So everything is borne by CPF. So financial is one thing. The bigger one is the system itself, because the system is very, how do I say it? Inhuman or inhumane in their approach towards witnesses, right? Whereas the child is treated as a witness, and it's they completely disregard almost the role of the witness, and they don't look after the welfare of the witness. So the challenges have been trying to work within the system and getting ourselves heard, and the victims or the witnesses given the dignity of a human approach and a humane approach. That has been the biggest.
How would somebody report an incident to the CPF, and then what happens?
Okay, so usually social media is one of our primary ones, but we also get approached by the NCPA, we get approached by probation officers, by childcare facilities, and of course we have direct calls because the name has now, they've started relating or connecting the name CPF with child protection and abuse. And it's not just abuse, we also deal a lot with spousal abuse. So family related issues is also something that comes across quite a bit, because a lot of times both the things are connected.
You have a lovely concept called Child Force Troopers. What exactly is it and how does that work?
So the reason I wanted Child Protection Force is because also I wanted a force. We need a force, just like the Sri Lanka Army, Navy, Air Force, we need a force. And I thought maybe we can actually initiate this whole thing of a Child Force Trooper. The reason behind this is, okay, we are there are a few others who work for child protection, but that's not enough. It has to be a way of life within the adult community in the world, but let's start here with Sri Lanka. So that is when I thought, okay, let's initiate this Child Force Trooper, where people will start talking, creating awareness about child protection. So it is wherever you go, whoever you meet, you talk about child protection, you talk about creating more awareness, empowering the child so that we can stop it before it becomes, and before it comes to us, before it comes to the juvenile justice system, to stop. So prevention. And thereafter also, if, say for example, if I see a child on the streets and I feel that maybe the child needs assistance, that I will actually stop my vehicle, get down, go and talk to the child. If the mother is around, talk to the mother. What's going on? Why is your child on the street? Or anything. If I know that my neighbor's child is being abused, I will actually take time off my schedule and go and make that complaint, make that effort. Yes, you can always call people like us, but it would be much easier, and the more responsible thing to do would be to go and report yourself. Also, within the corporate community, to start employing children who are victims of abuse, so after they turn the age of adulthood, and more specifically children who have always lived their lives in institutions, so in probation homes, because these guys find it very difficult to find jobs and to keep jobs. So employers to employ them, but also get human resources to keep track of these kids, keep track of their mental well-being, to give them that second chance at life, to stand up on their own.
With limited statistics, the CPF is planning a survey where the responder can be completely anonymous. This is happening in September. The overall unconditional responsibility for the protection of our children lies with all of us, the entire country. Become the Child Force Trooper and be the change. As David Pelzer wrote in his book, A Child Called It, children should be carefree, playing in the sun, not living in a nightmare in the darkness of the soul. That was Ceylinco Live Let's Talk. Thank you Kumudini David and Milani Salpitikorala. If you'd like to watch the full programs of Kaleidoscope, log on to our YouTube channel, Kaleidoscope with Savithri Rodrigo.